Good morning. Sun is shining for a while. Not a lot to talk about today. It's a fairly quiet week in movies in Hong Kong. I have a couple of big-ish movies that opened yesterday. Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters. I didn't see it because I didn't see Godzilla 1, and this really isn't a genre that interests me. My friends saw it. They said, yeah, crazy. Yeah, it was all right. They like the first one better. I just have no interest in seeing it. So that was it. Second film, big-ish film that opened yesterday, A Dog's Journey. You know what? Wild Horses couldn't get me to see this movie. I just saw the trailer and I said, "Oh my God, no, 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 no." This is the one about the dog that keeps coming back. Stars Dennis Quaid and a lot of other people, and it's just, oh no, 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 no. So can't even talk about it because just didn't do it. So faced with that problem, I thought, what am I going to do? Got to see a movie this week. So I saw Booksmart, which is not playing in Hong Kong. It's not even scheduled to come to Hong Kong yet, if ever. Who knows if it is? But it has opened in North America. It's opened in a few places in Europe. And very interestingly, it's bombed at the box office, which is sad. I don't want to say surprising. It's sad because it's a really good movie, but unfortunately, it opened up against Aladdin, and of course, you have the Disney marketing machine behind Aladdin, and of course, Aladdin made something like close to $90 million last weekend at the box office in America, whereas Booksmart didn't even make 7 million. So, as I said in my written review, on my website, howard4film.com, howardforfilm.com. Got to plug my own website. This is probably the best film out right now that you're not seeing, that no one is seeing. And you know what? It's got like a 97% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And very interestingly, I published my review 2 days ago, and it's not getting a lot of hits. Just people just are not interested. It's very, very surprising. And very simply, this is like the female equivalent of Superbad, or but done for the next generation, done for the whatever generation Z. I don't know what it is. But that's not to say it's completely derivative. There are some nice touches to this film, but it's not reinventing the genre of teenage coming of age films. But it is a really good film. It's well acted. It's well directed. It's by first time director Olivia Wilde, who you might know from TV show House, or she was in the film last year, the horrible film last year called Life Itself. She was in for about the first 5 minutes of the film. She played Oscar Isaac's pregnant wife, and then she got hit by a bus. Oops. If you haven't seen Life Itself, don't. Horrible film. So I didn't mind spoiling that one, which is an awful film. And she's also the real life partner, and I think they're engaged, but they actually have two children together now, of Jason Sudeikis, who is also in this film as well. So the story with Booksmart is it's about two high school girls, Molly and Amy. Molly is played by Beanie Feldstein, who was in Lady Bird, and if you've been to Broadway in the past few years, she was in Hello Dolly with Bette Midler. And Amy is played by Caitlin Dever, who was in Beautiful Boy. I honestly don't remember her in that movie. Short Term 12, the film that I said was going to make Brie Larson a star, and I was right. The Spectacular Now, the film that I said was going to make stars out of, now who are they? I can't even remember their names, but they are both stars right now. And she's been in TV's Last Man Standing, which I have never seen and probably won't see because of who the star of that TV show is and his political stance. Although I did like his old TV show, but because of his politics, I won't see this one. Anyhow, they are a pair of overachieving seniors at an upscale Los Angeles area high school, and these best friends for life have just spent the past 4 years doing everything right so that they could get accepted into top-tier universities, which they do. But on the eve of their graduation, they learn that the irresponsible kids in their class, which is pretty much everybody else, also got into really good universities. So, they're like, well, wait a second, we did everything right and got into school, and they did everything wrong and got into the same school. So, what's wrong with this picture? Now, let's leave out the very real possibility, because this is Los Angeles, let's leave out the very real possibility that some of those kids, these underachieving kids who got into real good schools, might have gone in because of some financial intervention from their parents, a la Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, and a few others. But, let's not go there, because has anything to do with this movie. But anyhow, just something that's stuck in the back of my head. And one of their classmates in this movie even landed a 6-figure paying job at Google. Now, for Molly and Amy, this news is absolutely devastating. As I said, they've done everything right, and what did it really get them? What did their sacrifice get them? They didn't go to any parties. They didn't break any rules that teenagers typically break, and what have they got to show for it? So on the eve of their graduation, Molly decides that the two of them, she and Amy, have to absolutely crash the end of the year party that's hosted by their very popular classmate, Nick, played by Mason Gooding, who is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s son. I looked at this kid and go, wow, he looks very familiar to face. And then I looked him up and, we know his father. So this party that Nick is hosting is at his aunt's house. Now, the problem for these girls is that they don't know where the aunt lives, and none of the classmates are about to tell them. So in the process of pulling out all the stops to try to find where the party is being held, the girls learn a lot, not just about themselves, but about all their classmates who they had looked down upon for 4 years, and probably longer than 4 years. And guess what? It turns out that the cool kids have the same fears, anxieties, desires, and loyalties that they do. They're really not all that different. Interesting. So that's what the film's about. Now, as I said, this is the feature film debut for actress turned director Olivia Wilde. I saw an interview. She's done a lot of, not a lot, she's done some music videos. I actually don't know which ones because I don't follow music videos. So she has had some experience behind the camera, but this is her first feature film. And she's done a really good job. Now, the film plays out, as I said, fairly similar to Superbad from 2007, which coincidentally stars Beanie Feldstein's older brother, Jonah Hill. Now, Superbad is a fair bit raunchier. If you've seen the film, if you remember it, it's raunchy. There's a lot of talk about sex. There's pictures of drawings, a lot of drawings of genitals. But that's not to say that Molly and Amy are, goody two-shoes. Well, they are goody two-shoes, but they swear like sailors. I didn't know that girls that age swore, talk like that. And they spend a lot of time talking about sex, I thought that was quite refreshing. Honestly, when I was that age, sure, guys talked about stuff like that. I didn't know girls talked about it. Maybe they did back then too, but they certainly do in 2019, or at least in this film. Now, Feldstein shares her brother's comedic timing, and she's an absolute hoot. She delivers these zingers to anyone and everyone who gets in her way. I mean, she's just, she's on a mission. It's quite funny. In the very first scene, we see pictures of Michelle Obama and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And, this is where and she even says very early on that she intends to be the youngest woman who makes it to the U.S. Supreme Court. So, she's on a mission and nothing is going to stop her. So she is really, really, she delivers these zingers. Fantastic. And also, I have to say, even Caitlin Dever, who, although she's been in all these other movies, I honestly don't remember her being in any of them. She had small parts. She's pretty much the straight woman, but she's got some good lines too, and she plays a good foil to Beanie's character. But what I really liked about both these girls' characters, in fact, all the people in the film, is that they were all nuanced. It was everybody they were multi-layered, and when you think back at some of these teenage films. of my time, like 16 Candles and Saint Elmo's Fire and or what is the Breakfast Club. Um, you had the jock, you had the pretty girl, you had the rich kid, and each of them acted the way you would expect the jock, the pretty girl, the rich kid to act. The rebel. And what is nice about this film is that you have these characters, but they have lots of nuance to them. They're a little bit of, they have little bits of everything in them. You have the rich kid who is desperately lonely, and he's desperate to everybody, but deep down he's desperately lonely for friendship. You have the girl who the class tramp, let's call her, because that's what we used to call them back then. She's given a nickname because of some stories that got out about her, and she chooses to keep quiet about it because she wants to fit in with the group. You have, so everybody's got, they all have these issues, these layers to them, which I thought was really, really well done by the writers. I think there were 4 writers on this film. The film had gone through quite a few iterations, and then even when they started shooting, Wilde had told the actors, just go with it, you figure out what makes sense for you. So there was quite a lot of writing, quite a lot of changes that went into the script, but I thought it was quite real. Like I've read other reviews where they say, well, there's no real cliques in this movie, except for there's a couple kids who are in the drama club. That's about the only clique. Everybody else is sort of friends with everybody else. Okay, you know what? I mean, high school isn't quite like that, but it's not the other extreme that we saw with the films from the 90s. These coming of age films from the 90s. It's certainly not like Love, Simon, which we saw last year. Great. It was a film about a gay boy. But you know what? To me, that was completely not realistic. So I thought, okay, this one, in its own way, does sort of twist realism a little bit, but quite good, quite good. I was impressed. Now, going back to people who don't appear as they seem on the surface, you even have Principal Brown, who's played by Jason Sudeikis, and the class teacher, Miss Fine, who's played by Jessica Williams. She was in the last Fantastic Beasts film, The Crimes of Grindelwald. They have a few surprises of their own, and those are revealed to the girls in the course of their late night adventure. So everybody has a nuance to them. So I thought the writing was very well done. Now, unlike Superbad, and I watched it again the other day because I hadn't seen it since it came out, Superbad gets bogged down in this unnecessary subplot of the policeman. I think because of Seth Rogen, who was one of the writers of the film. I think he said, look, I'm the writer and I want to be in this film, so I'm going to write a whole big section about myself. That was completely unnecessary. To me, it was like a 2-hour film. Easily 15 minutes could have been cut out of that film. So this film, I thought, is really good. There's not a lot that was unnecessary. It really zipped along. It was an hour 45, an hour 42 minutes, and it zipped along quite well. So I thought, again, kudos to Olivia Wilde. She didn't put excess stuff in here. Now, there are a couple scenes that are really good. There's a hallucinogen induced stop motion animation sequence where the girls see themselves as Barbie dolls. Really well done. Really, really well done. There's also a great scene between the girls and Amy's parents, who are played by comedy veterans Lisa Kudrow and Will Forte. Now, this is in the trailer. It's just hysterical scene. I mean, these two, Kudrow and Forte, are wonderful. And I couldn't have, if I was there, I wouldn't have been able to keep a straight face because they're so funny. But even they, they're these parents who, they don't understand their daughter and her life choices, but they want to appear to be supportive. They're very straight-laced, but they want to appear to be supportive of their daughter and her choices in life. And so this is how they seem on the outside. My feeling is this is not the real them. My feeling is once she's out of the house, the daughter's out of the house, these two, they probably crack open a few bottles of champagne and get funky with each other. I have a feeling, there's a lot more to them that we're not seeing. And again, I think this was really a testament to the good writing of this film, good directing of this film. Now, as I said, this film is not playing in Hong Kong yet. There's no plan for it to come to Hong Kong at this point in time. It is playing in North America. It is available on Amazon Prime. And it's slowly making its way around the world. just because nobody else is seeing this film doesn't mean you shouldn't. I say, instead of being book smart, be movie smart. Go see this film because I really like this film, and it is worthy of all the praise that it's been getting. So that's Booksmart, opened last weekend in North America, still playing in many markets. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about today. Next week is X-Men Dark Phoenix. I don't know if I'm going to see it because the screening is on Thursday night, I think. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to see it. But there's By the Grace of God, a French film based on a true story. I've seen that one, so I can talk about that one. There's Fahrenheit 11/9, Michael Moore's documentary that came out last year. I don't know why. I don't know why it's coming to Hong Kong. I don't know why it's coming to Hong Kong now. Probably because it's going to get onto the distributor's TV channel, and contractually they have to release it in the movie theater before it goes onto the TV channel. That's probably the only reason. I haven't seen it yet, but I will see it over the weekend at some point. I'm not sure when. And that's what's happening next week. So have a great weekend. Have a great week. See ya.